First of all, I think that President Xi's vision is consistent with vision of the IPU in terms of sustainability. We cannot today manage this planet as if we're doing it only for this current generation. We should be mindful of future generations. And for us to progress together, we need to cooperate. We need that commitment and coordination at the global level. And we're very glad that China is taking leadership in this particular aspect. And we admire the Chinese efforts to mobilize the global South in terms of a greater influence and impact on global decision making. Let me use the analogy of the Belt and Road Initiative. When you visualize a belt is supposed to go around something and enclose it and make it strong, right? It's a Chinese initiative, which again brings us to this issue of a community of shared future, right? So it is important that we continue to have this, I would say, vision being articulated. And we're very grateful that they are mobilizing these other developing countries to see how they can come to more or less the same level of development as the Chinese. The challenges are similar. The challenges of poverty, challenges of the negative effect of climate change, the challenges of a lack of facilities, infrastructure, they're the same. And the rest of the global South can learn from how the Chinese have been able to address these challenges. I have had the privilege of visiting several provinces of China, and I've seen the transformations that have taken place. And I believe this is the outcome is the result of policies, very consistent policies that have been implemented by the leadership of your country. We have a framework for what we call strong and democratic parliaments, which means that parliaments have to be representative, and we think that the NPC is representative. It has established a mechanism for constituting a legislative body that is representative of the Chinese people. And this is a model that should resonate well, and it is something that other countries can learn from. We see the integrated approach that is used, that is the inputs coming from the local communities through the provincial congresses up to the National People's Congress, being something that they can learn from, because at the summit of the legislative institution, you need to be mindful of what is happening in the grassroots. And so we see that connection between the local and the national, which is something that many countries can learn from. Democracy is very abstract, you know. It's a set of values and principles that are meant to help govern society. But democracy can only be meaningful if it serves the expectations of the people, the aspirations of the people. We always look at democracy through the lens of the people. What does it mean for us when we talk about democracy? What does it mean for the people of China in the rural areas? It means that the people in the rural area, they need hospitals, or generally access to medical care. They need access to education. They need access to employment for their children. All of that. Democracy is meant to facilitate that. Otherwise, it's meaningless. So you have the relatively abstract notion of democracy and its values that needs to be transformed into concrete outcomes. And that is why we lay a lot of emphasis on the SDGs, because the SDGs allow parliaments to be relevant in terms of responding to the aspirations of the people. Otherwise, somebody may ask you, do we eat democracy? No, we don't eat democracy. But democracy helps us eat. Democracy helps us have better health care. Democracy helps us have employment for our children. And for that to happen, you need to implement in a practical way the values of democracy, in terms of integration, in terms of inclusivity, legitimacy, all of that you need to use to improve upon democracy, a democracy that delivers to the P, capital P, people. And I think that is what is very, exciting in the Chinese model, that they're always looking at the system of governance through the lens of the people. What does this mean for the people? What would be the impact of the actions that we are taking today in the area of democracy, governance? What would be the impact on the lives of the people? That's how I understand it. So I believe that the Chinese model is in sync with what is being articulated in other parts of the world.